dog over the weekend?
It's all right, man. I didn't really do much. I just did nothing yesterday. Saturday, I floated in the pool. Worked in my tank, yeah. Had a few cocktails, did some stuff on the grill.
Sounds like a good Sunday.
It was could potentially be relocating as well. He owns a system. He went through Mass Renewables. The mother lives at the house. The house is strictly for specifically that. So he cannot have anybody go in and live there if he wanted to rent it out. He's shopping around, but he also wants to do the talk with Jeff in regards to this mass solar loan program. He wants to look into that and see what that's all about.
Is he low income or anything?
No.
So the mass solar loan is usually when it's beneficial because it's only a 10-year term.
Yes. He's not. The wife qualifies for it.
But it's household income.
On the electric bill, it's an R1.
But it's household income.
Temple.
So it's not just his, it's not just hers, it's household.
Temple. I'll look into that again.
Yep.
In a little more
What is the
detail.
minimum that we start getting like to buy? Because there's two items, right? There's a 10% and a 30%.
Yes.
There's no more 10%.
So it's just a 30 or
It's just
plus.
a 30 or bust, right?
Wow.
Well, you can go for their financing right now. So if you have bad credit, they have low loan loss reserve, you can go for credit only, right? But you only have a 30%, 10% does not exist anymore. The tables really haven't changed, so the tables are the same, but if you fit in that program, and it's household income, everybody. So if you have, husband or wife, and they're living there together, it's both your incomes together with whatever family members.
Also, too, is we talked, it's the 26% plus, I guess, we talked with Jeff, it's an additional 30% or something of that.
Well, that's the buyout.
That's the buyout.
26 plus a 30. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to get the system for as cheap as possible. Which,
What's wrong with that?
No, I hear
you
you.
should, but
It's a lot of homework, but it's all good.
so at the end of the day, where do we land with this?
He's making a decision. That's basically it.
Why aren't they calling Mass Removal?
He didn't like he's been trying to, something's wrong with the system, but apparently he doesn't like the customer service. So he does not want to go back with them.
Okay. Let's see. Corey, Waynesville.
This one rescheduled.
Okay, so did we?
I don't know. I passed it on to Katie. I don't know if he actually set a time or not. This guy was kind of I called to confirm the appointment. He told me, yeah. And then when I came in, Jeremy checked the email thread for a bill, and he canceled at 6:35 in the morning.
This is the guy that went to the beach for the day. He has not given us a reschedule yet. Last Monday he wrote an email.
So it really isn't that important, though.
Because I should reach out and I reached out.
We'll give them one more shot. It's the priority or it's not, right? They either want to take money or don't. All right, Foster and Watertown.
So this customer, the numbers work out very well. So his hot tub is broken right now. He's going to fix it up. So we give him an extra 1,000 kilowatt hours for that. It's a complete bill swap, even with the 1,000 kilowatt hours extra. He has a deep background. He was an engineer for a while. He was a teacher, mathematician, math major, stuff like that. So he gets it. His sister's an engineer as well. He said that he won't let me talk to his sister, but his mom is 90 years old and they're around 70. So they have to, both of them have to approve the job if they're going to do it to the house. He seems very confident that it's going to go forward. I'm going to head him up today to see if we can move forward on that.
Okay. All right. Corey Hopton.
So this was Junior's referral. So I did a Zoom meeting with him. Essentially, he was collecting as many quotes as possible. He had 4 at the time and said he wanted 2 more. I've been texting with him back and forth. past week.
So I'm guessing that means 3,000 to 4,000 cheaper, not 34,000 cheaper.
Correct, yeah. Now, if it was 34, you probably would go with us.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
be one hell of a salesperson if
90K
you
for
close
6,
somebody who's 34 grand more.
Yeah.
All right.
So essentially, I'm still working with them, so.
Okay.
It's a
Yep.
price thing, we're just trying to deal with it.
Yep, all right. Let's see, Jeff and Douglas.
Going to rehash the whole thing because I talked a little bit about them last week.
No, I think if we got it last week, no, we're good. But
Yeah, just sold 8.51 owner, asked me to come in and it's a cash deal, so it was a nice sweet deal. And
Excellent.
then we did his dad, and then we did his foundry.
4 deals in one. That's a hell of a good. That is effort. Well done, Mark.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Corey in New Milford.
So this guy is very successful in real estate. We had a 66 panel Solaria ground mount set up. He wanted it in a different placement after saying to Jeremy we couldn't really do that, so I kind of sent him everything through an email. He did reach out Sunday and said he read through it. He said call me Monday afternoon.
It wasn't as much as it can't do, like he wants it 5 feet from the road in front of the house.
I was the one to do it.
Oh, I remember this.
He wants it on the
Shit ton of
side of the
land.
house, yeah.
So like the back of his yard goes down a hill.
Yeah, that's fine.
So where we're aiming to put it, he won't even see it from the house.
Right, sure.
Where he wanted to put it, so we were kind of talking, he drives in and when he drives up to the house, he wouldn't necessarily see it, but it would be right beside the road. When I say right beside the road, I mean right beside.
Which the town is not gonna want to let him do.
We've always ran into them saying that they need the ground pounds at least behind the house. 9 out of 10 times you still have to put a row of shrubs because they don't want it visible by the street. So just figured to try and avoid the hurdles where he has the land.
So where does it land?
So I mean, when I met with him, he forever was pushing well, I could put 100 grand into stocks and make 8 grand a year, pay for the 8 grand bill, and I got him to like flip on.
Then do it. See ya. Good luck. Take care.
And that's what I kept saying. If you could do that, great. But you're essentially making an extra 8 grand to pay.
Or you should do both.
Put it back out.
Yeah.
Pay 80 grand out of pocket.
You could do it to both. That
Right.
sounds like the best plan.
Right. So I pretty much, I hit him with a pretty crazy email on Saturday afternoon and pretty much was like, hey, if you could make 8 grand a year to pay for your electricity bill, that's great, but here's an option to make
But it's not consistent.
266 grand over the next 25
Yeah.
years, you know what I mean?
I hate people that think they're smarter than they are.
Yes.
It seems like he was handling a lot of the real estate stuff.
That's what I mean.
60 units in New York, I'm sure that brings in some decent change.
All right. Let's see. Vaughn and Amherst.
Steve and family we have done the redesign. I have 3 numbers. It's just him and the family are thinking it over. So I'll follow up later this week. See
We
what-
did an initial sizing of the system, then for whatever reason, the guy was stuck saying like he wanted half a ground mount, half on the roof. But for what his usage is, like we can fit the whole system on the roof, obviously cost per watt, things like that, it's not gonna be. And another one was trying to jam a ground mount beside a house. Like when I say, like here's the house ends, and he was like, yeah, we'll put it right there. And I understand some people want to display their art, and maybe the ground mount's art to him, but like,
Okay.
so that was kind of our, and we have the rebuild, we just gotta reset to
Okay.
see him.
All right. Let's see. That'll be Jeff and Cumberland. Excellent. Congrats.
It's work.
And then Uxbridge. This is all the same
Yeah.
family, same customer.
Yeah, it's all the same things from one to another, yep.
Excellent. Well done. Foster and Haddam.
So I had an appointment with this customer and he canceled. He just sent me a text. I immediately texted him back, hey, when we were scheduled to Saturday work,
Sure.
He didn't get back to me, and I gave him a call later on in the week because he canceled, I think it was like Wednesday. He didn't pick up my phone call, and called me again today, so I'm applying until he picks up.
Was this a reschedule already?
Yeah.
Yeah, he rescheduled twice. So,
All right. Pennsylvania. That was
Yeah.
great.
yeah, that was fun. Somebody had said run down to Pennsylvania. Closed a 21.12 kilowatt system. The husband wanted it on the ground, but the wife wanted it on the roof. So Ted was not putting it on the ground. So He's gonna give us a check on the 3rd from when I talked to him the other day. I asked Jim to reach out to him today just to make it seem like we didn't sign a deal and fucking bounce back with Mass.
Of course. Jim, have you sent an email, just congratulatory welcome? Okay.
Yep, I will.
Excellent. All right, Jeff and Albaro, congrats. You guys are on fucking fire.
Happens sometimes in streaks, you know. You want the details in this one? Or?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I had actually met with him a while ago. He opened up all the other proposals, and I literally went through them, and I said, I looked at a couple of the other ones, and I said, these deals are a little bit too good to be true. But, you know, if you can get that, you can do it, because it's not something I can do.
Right.
So, you know, he says, okay. He says, I really appreciate your honesty, and we went through it, and then I guess he went back to the other companies, and when they finalized the leasing numbers, his $120 payments turned into $200 payments, and his $130 payment turned into $180 payment.
Oh, wow.
So the proposals that they gave him were very different from the final figures that he received. So he had kept my card. And he just called me up and said, hey, can we do this? Because this is what happened. I said, okay. So I went down and signed him up. We did it through the Mass All Loan. He's actually having Dan. Where's Dan? There he is. Are you going there today?
Yeah, I'm heading there Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Today is Albert.
Yeah. Because my pictures were too foggy. But I was standing on 2x4s over an 8-foot drop in 120 degree heat, holding onto a slippery phone.
Come on.
That was a very artistic email.
Thank you.
Graphic.
Yeah. So.
Foster and Windsor.
So Katie scheduled this appointment for when we went down to Pennsylvania. So obviously I couldn't be in 2 places at once.
It's a shame.
Didn't try hard enough. I mean, you don't believe yourself, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
So I called him Wednesday in the morning and was like, hey, can I sit with you Wednesday night? You know, I'm double scheduled for Thursday. He was like, yeah, cool, give me a call in 2 hours. He's like, we'll set up a time to meet tonight. He's like, but I'm at work right now. He's a selector at their house. He said that he's at work tonight, and it's depending on his workload. And I've been in that scenario. They can drop a bunch of work on you. So I called him in 2 hours. He didn't pick up. I constantly texted him through Thursday. I tried to get on the phone with him at the gas station. He didn't pick up, so I'm gonna reach out to him today and see if I can set something for this week.
Sure.
So
All right.
today.
Corey and Bourne.
This was the one that,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love people like this. Totally unaccommodating, not willing to help you, like you're calling and asking for a bill, and then we'll give you and then, because you can't help them because they didn't give you anything, you're the asshole. Isn't that something?
it was a fun combo.
Yeah.
This gentleman went, obviously, you know how far he went, but like when he called to confirm the appointment, he's like, well, you can't come to my house until I have a proposal. It's like, well, we need to come to your house to go over the proposal. Like, we can come there with it, things like that.
Yeah.
And then he flipped out on Corey. And, you know,
Well, it just started weird too, because I called to confirm a 1 o'clock appointment that he picked, and he told me it was 5. So I called Katie, I'm like, hey, like, you sure we didn't set this guy for 1 and it's supposed to be 5? She sent me the email thread where she said it's 10 a.m. Thursday good, and he said no 1. So I was like, all right, so I called him back, like, dude, you sure? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, he's never wrong, except it was everyone else's, someone else's fault.
Yeah.
Those people, you know what, it's best that we don't tell them solar, because who wants them as a customer? That's
never, ever going to be happy.
Right.
Alright.
Come on.
Alright,
You don't throw those names into the atmosphere.
Jeff and Wakefield.
I've been out to his home before. We actually looked at doing a metal roof for him, and he had a bunch of other quotes, and we were higher. We kind of went through the reasons why. I went through the material we'll have, the thickness of it, etc., all these kind of things. He was sold on an aluminum roof, and he keeps asking me he wants an aluminum roof, standing seam. And I know we don't.
Outrageously expensive. You can't put solar on it.
He's got, I know, he's got stupid quotes on stuff, but I don't believe any of it, because literally he's in a municipality, and he started to show me the quotes coming out, and people are saying, sign on the line here. He has an average 62% TSRF. He's in a municipal. You need an 80 to even get approved to do the work. He's got signature requests for a contract. he's got signature requests on a contract with, and he's got signature requests with a contract with. They've all said they can do it there. They're not. They will, and I told them the mentality. The mentality is get a signature. We count signatures, not jobs. And I said, they're going to just get a signature, tie into contract. Nobody else will be able to do it, and you're not going to get it done. And I took them to the website, explained everything to them. I said, you're not going to get the grant. It's not possible, and you can't do it without cutting down a tree.
And you can't lease, which all three of those companies like lease. Well, two of them like leasing anyway, and nobody will lease a 62% TSRF.
No, well, these aren't leasing. These are actual sales on it, and it wasn't going to happen, and because he won't get the $1.20 you want, which other people was telling him he would. And I took him to the website, showed him how the in writing how it works, and at the end of it, he said, "So where were you at the roofing?" Because he started to trust me, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so now we're there again, at the sheet metal roof again, so. Metal roof, we'll get there, somehow or another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Foster in East Providence.
So this customer actually took Carolyn to. He rescheduled for our first appointment earlier that week and then set this one.
Okay.
So we walked up to his house and he was like, "So you guys don't have masks?" And he wasn't wearing one. And I was like, got him in the car. I was like, "You want me to put one on?" He was like, "Oh, no. It's no big deal." He's like, "But other companies show me masks." I was like, "Cool." And he's like, "Aren't you guys going to be selling solar?" It's like, no. Like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, "I'm going to answer all of your questions." I had printouts, I came in with all the data sheets, proposal, the whole 10 yards. Showed him, everything. Went into so much depth because he was asking tough questions. He ended up saying he was talking to 4 of the companies, Vivint Solar was one of them. He won't share the proposal, but tried to lightly touch it, said because it's unprofessional. He tried to scare me with, I buy stuff like this for $1 million contracts, and I was like, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, basically, he told me that he's dealing with 4 companies. He already doesn't like, which is why he gave me the name. He said we're still in the running. He's going to reach out to me today or tomorrow with the decision, but he likes our 299 option. I didn't show him the 299 because I didn't want to offer him too much. So I'm going to wait until I can get back in the house, go through that if I need to. Just trying to save something in my back pocket.
Sure.
But I'm very promised on this one. He said if he doesn't reach out to me today, he'll reach out to me tomorrow, and he seems very adamant to do so.
Let's see, you in Taunton.
So this customer reached out to me while I was at Jamie's house over the weekend and said that he contacted or something and said that he needs to remove the tree to get the rebate. I'm calling to see today. I'm going to reach out to your friend. See if that's actually true, one, and then you help, just so the room knows, you help take off some money for him because he gave me a price of $150 a month if we could get to that. So to help you get to that number, I called him back up and he was like, I still need to think about it, but I need to use that to push him. I told him that I'm going to call him right now, after the meeting, I'm going to call him, reach out to him right away, try to sit with him tonight because I told him that for ordering panels for the job in Pennsylvania, it's the same panels, ordering them today, we need to do something today. He seems very similar to Mike Ojai, one of my first customer that Jeremy helped me get, where Jeremy looked at his watch and said, you got 30 seconds to think about it. He seems like that type of person where I have to push him so because otherwise this is going to be a 6-month thing. And I'm losing.
Got it. Okay, excellent. See Jeff in Douglas. Why in Douglas?
Yeah, it's great. Nice family. She's a teacher, he is a mechanic. So we started off just kind of talking out and back and going through things. They were uncomfortable with me going inside at first. Later on they invited me in. They got very relaxed. He actually took me out, showed me his drag car, which he just bought, and then he said, you want to hear it? So he started up his open header drag car.
Wow.
Back. He says, I have to keep the doors closed when I start it because the neighbors complain. We kind of went through everything. She's the dollar and cents person. He is whatever she said. And he really made that clear. She's going to make a decision. That's the way it is. So when we left there, we were going through tree removal, et cetera, going through a couple of redesigns on the system. We cannot make a system big enough to cover their loads. One of the things that I found out, though, is that she is using her parents who live on the property to pay for her electric bill. It's in her name. They're using it as a low income.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and they're stuck in Costa Rica right now because they couldn't come home. So there's no,
Stuck in paradise. That's
yeah,
kinda-
there's no low income here, right? So I don't actually know how this is happening.
Okay.
But there it is. So the meter that the system would be on, which is for the barn in the back, has its own meter because there used to be a business there, is actually a C6 account, and of course no discount on it, and it's in her name. He doesn't use all the power, so I had to make a hybrid kind of proposal that was going from covering both systems as far as cost, because it's the group of the cost of the whole thing that is that way. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're seeing them later today. We're rescheduled for 2 o'clock today.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Foster. Uncasville.
So that's actually, he lives literally 2 minutes from the casino. I can throw a rock there. So this customer works at Electric Boat. He said that I told him about our referral program. He said that he's going to put us in the queue for
Excellent.
everything there. So he said 2,000 engineers are now going to see you guys. He's like,
We've already got like some people, but you already got a couple of customers that work there.
yeah. So I'm hoping to get some referrals out of him. He seems very cool.
That place has been there forever.
Yeah. I sat down with this customer, and I know I talked to you a little bit about it already, but I sat down with this customer. I didn't think he understood solar, but he's running through, how the system works, everything like that. And I told him, I was like, listen, I'm gonna go do a redesign just to see, what I can do with Jeremy. Jeremy kicked back a redesign that night. I went out the next day. Sat down literally for 15 minutes, asked him if he thought he remembered how the system worked, and he was like, absolutely, you did a great job explaining it. And I was like, huh.
He's an engineer.
Yeah.
He probably knew before. He probably just let you go to see if you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. We get through the financing, he was like,
That's why it's important to tell the truth.
yep.
Because he could have known how this whole thing worked the whole time just to see if you lied to him or not.
He said he was looking into solar for the last 2 years, so I think that's
So
actually.
yeah. Yep. Why you tell the truth, man?
So
Excellent.
he actually told me that he wasn't going to make his decision for another 6 months, and I thought that's why he told me the 2-year trip. I said, sir, with all respect, I was like, Ted's a very successful person, and I believe he had deep connections everywhere. I was like, I know he knows somebody in contact with rebate, and I know that's going away within the next couple months. I was like, I can't prove that. I was like, but I know it. I'm like, if you don't want to trust me, that's no problem.
We actually have a way of doing that, don't we? Isn't there like a public viewing of how much is left
Yeah, on
in
the
that?
Power Clark website, it shows how much is left,
Oh, really?
capacity that's left.
Awesome. Let's check into that.
Yeah.
So he was like, and then I said, okay, so now I'm 3 months out from install. I'm sorry. I need to get you commissioned this year to get you to 26%. Otherwise, you're going to be at 22%. And I was like, 4%
And the green bag.
$25,000 plus the green bag.
Yep.
I'm like, so now you're looking at $7,000 plus I'm not going to get you installed in 6 months if you wait 6 months plus another 3 months, and that's 9 months. So that's almost annual utility cost. I'm like, so now let's add a couple $1,000s to that as well. So it's really like $7,000, $8,000. I'm like, I don't think anybody can afford not to go solar now. He was like, fuck. That's like the whole thing he said the whole time. I literally sat with him on Sunday, and within 15 minutes, he asked me if there was a cash deal. I was like, cool, I'll take off the dealer fee. He was like, go, sign it up. So.
Right on.
Hey guys, hey, sorry to interrupt. I was supposed to be picking up a vehicle for you guys. And somebody said to come in.
All right, she'll take care of it.
Okay, sorry about that.
Let's see. That was.
No, it's
All right. So next one is you in Putnam. Yeah.
So their nephew actually sells solar.
Wait, what?
So
These people have a nephew that work that sells solar.
Yep, and they're gonna go nuts.
Well, it ain't green, so that ain't happening yet. But tell me how we're getting there.
So I sat down with this customer and went through everything for 3 hours.
Okay.
So I went through every detail. He was talking to me about how.
Tell me this pen.
So we were talking about, how reliable that is. And
Sure.
I got into that. Completely broke down everything. The customer was had a general knowledge about solar, but I don't think he put the pieces together to know exactly, because he's not an expert, right? So he sat down, he's like, listen, he's like, I think Vivian's trying to screw me. He's like, not my nephew. He's like, he's a good kid. I actually hope that you guys will hire him. He's like, because it seems like you guys know what you're doing.
Is he not smart enough to realize that Vivian's such a fucking people?
I think
That's very possible.
Yeah. I think that's honestly it. So he's like, my nephew keeps calling me and saying like, I can do this and I can do that. And he's like, but I don't want to lease. And he's like, and he's not getting it. He's like, I want to purchase system. And then I go out back and he's like, well, you know, he started to trust me. He's like, well, you know, let me ask you. He's like, do I need a new roof? He's like, and I look at it and I was like, I can't see detail without my glasses. And I was like, it looks good to me. Like, I don't know, how old is it? And he's like 34 years old. And then I was like, all right, it doesn't look bad. I was like, but the age is scaring me. I was like, you guys are gonna need it done within the next 5 to 10 years anyway. Take it down.
34-year-old roof?
34-year-old roof. Wow. I noticed it, once he said that, I took another look and it started to like curve up, and Jesse was telling me about how to, you know, pick apart the roof and stuff, and I was like, okay. Pointed it out to them, and they were like, well, I guess we're doing the roof. He said he has a buddy that can do it. Jeremy quoted him $30,000 for the roof, so that number scared him.
How big is his house?
57, 58 squares.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty big house.
People in Connecticut.
He has a farm out back. He gave me eggs to bring to Jeremy. And this is actually a lead from Jim and Rosie.
Okay.
I guess Jim now works at UPS with this guy as
Excellent.
a temp.
Shout out to Jim, man. Still hustling.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
So I actually told this customer, I said, when is you're gonna, I was like, let's take out a HELOC for this. I was like, do you guys have enough equity in the home? He's like, yeah. He's like, but I've only lived here for a year. I was like, did you guys put money down? He said, yes. I said, okay. I'm looking at taking out a HELOC. I was like, but since you're gonna do that, you might as well try to refinance while interest rates are low. He was like, well,
How long you working here?
8 months, yeah.
He was selling t-shirts.
Red shoes.
What were you doing before you worked there?
Yeah, Tommy Hilfiger. And I was making $125 a week. A little different. So he looks at me and this dude gets it too, right? He's like, fuck. He's like, and I was like, and I'm taking credit on that for the solar. I'm like, because if you didn't call the solar guy, you wouldn't have heard that. I was like, so the solar thing.
So, in order for him to take a HELOC, only after buying the house a year ago, he has to put a sizable amount down.
Yes.
How much, did you get it done with him?
He didn't share. I'm sure if I asked him,
Do you know if he sold another piece of property and bought that one?
I don't know.
How old of a guy is he?
But he did put a roof on his old house, so it seems like he had a property before and then bought that one. So, it looks to me like he'd be in his own 50s. If I were to guess, he has kids that are like teenagers.
So, where do we land with this?
He said that he would have signed the contract the other day, but he wants to reach out to his bank first. He said if he can't get money from his bank, he's going to explore the financing options. He's going to let me know today, even if he doesn't have an update, but he said he's going with us. He said if he can refinance the house, he's not even going to look at his friend because his friend is uninsured on whatever. He's like,
His friend or his nephew?
his friend is going to do the roof.
Oh.
He's like, my friend is uninsured, you know, unreliable, stuff like that. He's like,
That's why it's
if I can't refinance the house, he's like, I'm gonna go with him. He's like, but if I can refinance the house, it'll pay for itself. This conversation just paid for the roof.
Sure.
He's like, and I'm gonna have you guys do it. He's like, because I want a professional to do it.
So we're gonna talk to him today?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jeff and Beverly.
Husband dog, he's actually a referral from Ace Energy Services. We had talked about him, right? And so he's a great guy. We talked over the phone, and he was actually getting bids. And Tim from Ace Energy told me, you know, he's just looking for a price quote. And then I talked to him about his other designs, what he had coming in, and I kind of went through a little bit through the engineering on it. And I said, I'm not sure they're being honest with you, because they were overstating production on the size of the system, given the shading he had. So then he agreed to have a meeting, right? I said, I'm not going to propose the same thing because we're going to have a different answer.
Sure.
And on top of that, one of the things nobody else was accounting for was the fact that you're putting in mini splits and all these kind of things for going to add electrical load. And I just asked him, I said, are you expecting to have this covered? He says, I am. I said, well, that's the whole reason you're doing this, right? He said, well, none of the other things you've had quoted are going to do that. They're not even going to cover your base load.
Right.
So we got a meeting tonight. He was a really nice guy, actually. Showed me his garden, and he takes care of his dad, who is actually his father-in-law, who has dementia, lives in the home, and he refuses to take him to a hospital. Very committed to family, and a good, really nice guy. Stuff popped up from Energy Sage and Rooftop Solar in Boston, Boston Solar, etc. Price per watts were running from $250 on Solaria, actually up to about $310. He actually admitted to me, Solaria, it's 250 watt installed. I said it's not going to happen.
I mean, if you want to go out of business that fast, just close the friggin' doors. You know what I mean?
Well,
Why would you?
we talked about the job. I said, this is what we do, and I went from iron ridge racking, anodized finish, right down to how we wire, how we run conduit. I said, and I literally had that great line that Corey had, and I said, you know, what do you want to take out? What do we want me to not do? We'll lower the price.
Yeah.
And so we went through the whole thing, and then he admitted he'd already made a decision. He was going with and he was using panels. He's from Europe. He knows he sort of owns the European market. But what he didn't know was that he had gone through bankruptcy in 2012 and then went through a complete layoff in 2014, and that they'd been bought out by and was a front for a Chinese nationalist company. And so they're actually is a Chinese-owned company. He was totally unaware of that. And I showed him the Bloomberg report that stated how China was trying to get around the tariff restrictions by buying European companies to use them to bring the product and sell under their name. So we got through the whole thing. He says, he said to me, which is like the best moment, I don't know what to do now. Right?
Let me tell you.
Here's what's next.
So, you know, I just kept flipping through information, pulling up Bloomberg and all this stuff. Because the panels, the specs are good.
They have it's 20-year warranty.
Yes, 20-year warranty, so they're 5 years less than that. They're 21.5% efficient, not as good as some others. And I said, we're a dealer, I can quote you in too if you want 22.5. But he said, I thought I really wanted my European stuff. That's what I wanted. And he says, like, now I'm like flummoxed because it's not what I thought. So we're scheduled to talk again on Thursday. And we are higher, but I did say, hey, you know, again, you know, we're doing black anodized finished on the light commercial residential rail. We're not cutting corners on things, and we're not putting out the bid for lowest bidder. And we talk about the mentality of that, how it works.
Anybody know what the difference is between these two words? What is the difference?
Price is what you pay, value is what you get.
There it is. There it is. Well, why are you more money? Because I'm this guy. And if you're this guy only looking at this, then you probably don't even want to hear why I'm more. They're going to come across those people, right? And it's not just why you need solar or why you should go solar. It's why you should go solar with us. So there are going to be people that are only focused on what's the cheapest price I can pay. And we can try to go into and explain why is a better ROI with a better efficient panel.
Jeff asked a great question for that.
But with that, when you let's say Dan, right? Say Dan says, you know, I'm focused on the price, and I say, great. Well, when we talk about the ROI, we're already starting with a higher wattage panel, a more efficient panel, and in 20 years from now, it's still going to be far more efficient because the degradation is less. If you're 2, 3, or 5, or 8 minutes into this, and Dan's not paying attention because he's only focused on price, it's a lost cause. And at which point it goes back into, well, you want me to cheapen the shit out of this? I can throw crap on your roof, cheap Chinese panels, and a no-name inverter, but yeah, I can match the price and hope your house doesn't catch on fire, and it's a tail-light warranty just like you're getting from this guy.
I'll also explain it with our employees. You know, we're not subbing out for the cheapest bid to go and do it. I went through the whole thing and, you know, and how it works. And, you know, my feeling is, I mean, this is a blunt feeling. I think I got a lot of little companies that enter this market looking what's going on. They're getting ready to go and they're trying to grab out some cash before they go. It's an odd time because there's not a lot of honesty out there right now.
There was an article you shared with us earlier this week with the roofer. He was like, all right, so like it's a $10,000 roof. And the guy guy's like, well, my neighbor can do it for $5.
Yep.
It's like, okay, the uninsured guy that has no warranty, that has none of the credentials, things like that. And when he goes to pull a permit, you're probably gonna call me. Like, if I can skip the permit, skip the insurance, skip the workman's comp, use the cheapest shingle, not do plywood, not put down the whatever, and get the job
Not
done.
pick up anything, leave nails all over your yard and driveway so you get a flat tire, yeah, I can match price. But I respect myself too much and I don't wanna do work like
Well, I
that,
want to
so.
give you his response too, because at the end of this, right, you know, he said, I had these other companies come in on the price and they're going, we'll beat his price, we'll beat his price. And he literally said, I did not respect it. And he's like, I really respect what you're doing. And because those other guys were going to buy my business, I didn't trust them.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's
trust
the
them.
worst thing you can say when you're bidding is lowering the price, right?
Yeah.
I mean-
Well, it's like saying the first time, so like, here, like, well, it's $30,000, can you use 20? Sure, like, I just lied to you by telling you it's 30, and I just showed you how much margin, I just pissed you off.
Right.
Never. Like, unless you have like a customer that's like, you know, you're 35, this guy's 33.5, like, but if it's, yeah, like, if there's enough in there, sure, then you can kind of go back and forth because nobody comes away from a good deal happy, right? You guys know what I'm saying? Which means if, you know, think Dan and I do a deal negotiating over this Mountain Dew can. I want to sell it for $4, he wants to pay $2, we settle on 3, we're both kind of like, I didn't get what I want. That's a good deal because he's going to come back and do business with me again and I'm going to sell him something again. But if I want 4 and he wants 2 and I sell him 4 and I'm like, yeah, I f*** him. Like, he's never going to buy anything from me again. And over a long-term aggregate, that's terrible. And then he's going around feeling slighted, telling me like, yeah, I bought something from them, but the guy overpaid. Which means no one else is calling me that he's speaking to. It's terrible. It's true. And I think you're right too. On that point, I feel like there are a lot of solar companies that are about to go out next probably quarter, and it's light the match at both ends and hope I can make a little bit of money before I file a bankruptcy or whatever.
Yep.
Scary as shit, and there's gonna be a lot of homeowners gonna be taking advantage.
Or some of them even sitting on stock and saying, I gotta get rid of this, I gotta get rid of this, you know, whatever it is. So, yeah.
It's terrible. And honestly, what that does for all of us who are going to be around, which makes it hard for us to sell solar because it's going to be even more stories now, a year from now, of how many people are out of business and screwed people on the way out.
Well, he actually followed my process in that when he got to the end. He says, you know, it's got to be sustainable for both halves because for these people it's not sustainable for, they're not going to be around. So my warranty claim is going to mean nothing. And he actually came up with that. I'm like, yes.
Well, right before a business, that's what they were doing. They were calling around the last chance deal, which was, we'll put in that ground mount for $12. And it's like, that's not even real. You know? And I wonder how many deals they were able to take, cut, or get deposits on.
On the way out.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. We got a thing on our Facebook post the other day about that. Somebody has a ground mount that they want fixed, and it's too bad. All right. Well, do you have any ideas? Anything you want to review or discuss?
So, are we ever gonna do like some sort of like warranty thing with all of that?
What do you mean?
Like if somebody has a system from whatever company that went out of business, like,
So that's something Mike's not here. So that's something that Mike's working on right now, which is basically an entire addition going forward. Because as one solar goes from 30 to 26, 22 to gone, I feel like a lot of them are going to be gone. And because we have our own licensed guys, it just makes sense for us to have like an entire division and go out and just fix stuff.
right?
So, but I mean, as of right now, we still get phone calls. I'd say, I don't know, maybe 1 a week. Of, hey, can you come fix our stuff? This guy's answering my phone call, or they're out of business, or.
What would you think like the pricing would be on it? Would it be like a monthly thing or yearly, or like we show up and pay us X amount type thing?
Once Mike is drilling down on all that, obviously he's not here, but next week it's one of the things I want to review because every quarter I feel like there's less solar companies being started now than there was a couple of years ago. I feel like there's more going out.
Yes.
And like we're in August, so we
We're
had
getting more and more
September,
people.
October, November, December, and then we're back down at 22, which is even harder, which means solar gets 4% more expensive in 4 months. So honestly, I think for those who can innovate and those who have a brand, it's going to be fun, honestly, because it's going to be a lot of competition. And then, of course, there's always the wild card, which is if they extend it. Sure, that's always a possibility, but
Yes.
I feel like
in my mind, it's not.
Balls, right?
What?
Like the 10 companies that are gonna go out of business, once they're out of business, everybody's kind of pricing the same, that's staying in business, so it's almost easier.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the worst thing is rolling into a house with a $30,000 system when they have 22 for the same. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. All right. Anything else?
I got would you be interested in, someone would kind of tossed around talking to some of the guys, things like that, but like a weekly, whether it be a trophy or like a WWE style belt for top kilowatts of the week.
It's gotta be a belt.
That's what I said. It's gonna be that. You gotta come in with it.
You're gonna bring it in every Monday, it goes to the front of the room, and then whoever's top kilowatts gets it for the week.
Oh, I like this.
Okay. Wear it to all your appointments.
All right.
Valid for the
Got a
belt.
little magnet.
I think, all right, it's not gonna be, but we do something different, something more wolf oriented, like a bone or something.
Well, we can get a trophy with a wolf head.
All right, something, yeah, all right, I like this.
Or you can actually have the wolf head as part of the belt. We'll figure it out.
Collar.
Yeah, you can do custom
Well, like a diamond